Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in my last video I talked about the basics of OINP Express Entry notification of interest, like how do you get the notification of interest and how do you apply. Today we'll be looking into the step by step process of applying to OINP Express Entry once you get the notification of interest from OINP. So let's dive into that, and we will also be checking on what all forms and documents you need to upload. We will also be creating a login profile, and then inside the profile we'll see what all documents are required if you get this notification of interest through OINP Express Entry. So first things first, last time in our video, we were on this particular web page of OINP Express Entry notifications of interest. So if we click on notification of interest, it will show us like what all streams and what all streams are there and what all notifications of interest were sent to which all streams in 2024, since we are 2024, since we are looking into 2024 data. So let's go to the March 21st and let's see where it takes us. So if we come over here and if we go to March, you can see that there is an express entry human capital priority stream draw for tech occupations. So let's say if we go over here, and you can see that they have invited the tech occupation guys with these knock codes who have created their express entry profile and who fall under the CRS score of 468 and 480. And now let's see what all documents are required. For example, we are going to consider this particular human capital priority stream, the tech occupations that were invited by ONP. So the first thing is you have to review the ONP's express entry stream page to determine if you meet the requirements. And if you meet the requirements, you have to review the document checklist, and then you have to log in into the OINP e-filing portal and follow the steps to upload the documents and then submit your application. So let's see what is the basic requirement for OINP's express entry human capital priority stream. So in this, the basic requirement shows the steps that are required in order to meet this particular requirement. So first thing is there is a work experience requirement. So it says that you must decide which of the following two federal programs you would like to be assessed against. So either you want to be uh, assessed in federal skilled workers program or in Canadian experience class. So you can determine that, and based on that you have to share your documents which have been asked when you are applying through your ONP login portal. And then education is one of the requirements. So you must have a Canadian bachelor's, master's, or PhD or its equivalent in another country. So there is an educational requirement as well. Then there is language requirement. So you must be able to understand, read, write, and speak English, either English or French, at a CLB level of 7 or higher. So your IELTS score should also meet that requirement. Then they are talking about settlement funds. So you should be able to show that how much settlement fund you are going to bring to Canada in order to make sure that you and your supporting or your dependent family members are completely and they have enough funds to settle in Canada. Then you also have to write a letter, or where you have to mention your intention to live in Ontario. Why do you want to live in Ontario, and like why do you want to be granted PR for Ontario? Then, if you have any legal status in Canada, you can show that as well. Then, this is a different federal skilled worker program. So, if you are going to be assessed over there, so they have a different requirement. So, today we are going to talk about OINP's Express Entry Human Capital Priority Stream. So, what next? So, once you are here, the next thing that you have to do is you have to review the document checklist, and then you have to log in into OINP portal. So, without any further ado, let's create a login for our OINP portal, and then we are going to see what all documents we have to upload. So basically this is the portal where you have to create your login. So let's see. We will click on continue. So since you are going to sign in or create your account for the first time, so you should click on create account. Once you click on create account, you have to provide your details like your email and your password. So let me provide my email and password, and then we will click on create account button. So once you have created the account by entering your email ID and password, you are given three options, and you can select the option of new applicant if you are applying your application on your own. So let's click on this, and then it will give you the streams under which you got the notification of interest. So let's say we were talking about notification of interest for human capital priority stream. So if we go to human capital priority stream, we will see that which kind of notification of interest did we get. So for example, if we are getting express entry human capital priority stream, we will go to um, this particular tab. And if we are getting Ontario's express entry skilled trade stream, then we will go here. Master's graduate stream, then we'll click here. PhD graduate stream, then here. So let's say we got a invitation for Ontario's express entry human capital priority stream. So we will click on this particular button. So it says you have selected this stream. If you would like to continue to apply under the stream, please select yes. So we will click on yes over here. Once we click on yes over here, you have to you have to enter your details like your name as it appears on your passport, your date of birth. You have to enter all those details. So let's say you have only one name and you don't have a given name, then you will select this option. And let's say you have a family name and you have a given name, that means your first name as well, so you will give that particular option. So let me enter the details. So let's enter a hypothetical details, and let's give date of birth. So date of birth was in format DDMMYY. So let's give the date of birth, and then we will click on next. Once we click on next button, it will ask us to select that program that you wish to be assessed against. So you want to be assessed against Federal Skilled Worker Program or under Canadian Express Experience Class Program, CEC. So depending on how under which program you want to be assessed, you can select that option. So let's say we select the option of Federal Skilled Worker Program, and let's say we don't have Canadian experience, so we cannot apply under Canadian Experience Class Program. We will click on next. Once we click on next, it will start creating our profile, and we have to start entering all the relevant details of our profile. So you already entered your family name, given name, and a date of birth. Now you have to enter your primary telephone type. So let's say you select cellular telephone type, you give a country code. So most probably in whichever country you are, you can give that code. Let's say Canada. Then you give the number. You give some number. So I just gave a random number. Your email address is already there. Then it is asking for country of residence. So let's say your country of residence is currently, let me select Canada only over here. So okay, it's not showing. Okay, Canada is the first option. So you have to enter the date on which you received your notification of interest from Ontario in your IRCC online account. So you have to log into your IRCC online account, either with the help of your GC key, and you can log in and you can check the date when you got that notification of interest, and you will enter that date over here. So let's say you got notification of interest today. You will enter the date, then you will click on next button. You will check for this disclaimer, and then you will say I have read the conditions and everything, and you can read through it. So it will use your personal information in your profile, and then you can enter your name over here and then today's date, and then you can go ahead. Okay, and then you can submit. It will take a minute to submit this, and once this is being submitted, we can continue with our application. So it says your confirmation number is this, and we will click on finish. Now we can continue with our application. We click on continue, and this application has been created for you. You can click on this file number, and you can go inside this application, and you can start entering all the details, including you will start entering your uploading your documents, whatever documents are related, the forms that you need to fill. You need to start uploading that now. So the first thing it asks is assistance with application. So is someone assisting you, the applicant, with completing the application? So let's say no, because you are filing your application on your own, let's say. And if you want someone to assist you, you can select yes also. Then you can save it, and hopefully it will take you to next page. Okay, we'll click on next, and then we'll go to next page, and then we'll start entering all our details. Now when you click on next, you will be redirected to this page where it says general information. And once you scroll down, you will see that you need to fill these details. So you need to provide your Express Entry profile number. So let's see what it is. So it basically starts with E and is followed by 9. So this will be available on your Express Entry profile. You can go and check your Express Entry profile number. Then there is job seeker validation code. So this is a 4-digit code, and it gives, so once you enter your profile into Express Entry pool, you will get a job seeker validation code which will be associated with your Express Entry profile. And you will be getting a letter from Express Entry which says welcome to the pool letter, and in that letter you can find this job seeker validation code. Then once you submit your profile, before that you will be able to view your CRS score. So let's say it's 480, you will enter that score over here, and then you will press on next button. Since I just entered a dummy number, it is not taking it. Otherwise you can enter the exact Express Entry profile number which is present on your Express Entry, and you can move to the next section. Next section is the applicant information section. So now in applicant information, few details will populate on their own, like last name, first name, and if you entered a middle name, that will also enter. Then it is asking list any other names used, including name at birth, last name before marriage, previous name. So if you had any other name, you can put those names here, and you need to provide the details. And you can even add those names. You can add the number of names that you have. Date of birth, it is picking by default. Then country of birth, you can select the country of birth. Let's say you select India. Then place of birth, city or town, this is optional. So you can enter it if you want to. Let's say New Delhi. And then you can select the gender. Let's say you say male. And then primary country of citizenship. So depending on whatever is your primary country of citizenship, you can enter that. And if you have a secondary country of citizenship, you can enter that as well. Country of residence, whatever you have entered, that will be country of residence. Marital status, let's say you are married and you will be applying for your spouse as well along with your application, so you can select married here. Then you can enter the passport number. So whatever is your passport number, you can enter that. You can give details about your passport issue date, so it has to be in DDMMYY format. Then passport expiry date, and then you need to enter passport issuing country, and then you can click on next. Now it is asking for your contact information. So it is picking the seller information that we entered earlier and the number on its own. And if you want to add alternate telephone numbers, you can use this add button to add the telephone numbers. Then the email address, then current residential address. So let's say you are in Canada, you can select that, and you can provide your current residential address. City or town, let's say you are in Toronto province or state. Postal code, you can provide your postal code as well. district or region if you want to provide that. And then you have to select that whether the mailing address is going to be the same as your current residential address. So if that is same, you can select yes. And then that all the other text box option will go. Then preferred official language of correspondence, let's say English. It is asking for your native language, so you can select your native language. Can be anything, let's say Punjabi. And then what other languages do you speak fluently? So if you know any other languages, you can add those languages as well. And then you can move on to next section. Now it is asking your immigration information. Do you have legal immigration status in Canada? Let's say yes. Indicate your current immigration status. Let's say it's a worker immigration status. What type of work permit were used? So let's say I have a postgraduate work permit currently. So I will select that PGWP. Then it will ask for your client ID number. So this number can be found on your, it's an 8 digit or a 10 digit number. It can be found on a IRCC letter that was issued to you when you were given that work permit. On top of that, you will find a UCI number. So you can enter that number over here. And once you enter that number, then you also have to give the expiration date of your current IRCC document. So let's say your work permit is expiring in, you can give those details, the date when your work permit is expiring or your current IRCC document is expiring. Have you or your spouse or any dependent member ever submitted or been included in an application for PR? Let's say no, if you are not included the application for PR. And the next question is, have you or has your spouse or common law partner or any dependent children ever submitted or included in an application? So have you ever submitted an application of PNP to Ontario or to another province? Let's say no if you have not submitted. If yes, you can enter the details. Have you submitted another application that is still in process with OINP? Let's say no. Then we will kind of save it, and then we will move to next page. Once this is saved, let's go to next page. Then it is going to ask your education history, like what is your highest level of education for which you received an educational credential. So let's say I just finished my master's, I can say master's degree. You can select whatever you want as your highest degree depending on the highest level of education. And then it says list all post secondary education. In addition, list any secondary education completed in Canada only. Start with your most recent education. So you can enter the details like start date, end date, name of institution when you completed, from where you did your last education. Let's say it was in Canada. And level of education, what was your level of education, field of study also you can enter. And then you can give details like program was at least for 2 years duration or not. You can select this box if it was. And then it is just asking all your details related to your education. So let's try filling the details. Name of institution, let's say University of Regina. Level of education, let's say master's degree. Field of study, if you want to specify, you can specify. Like for me, it was computer science. So you can select computer science. Program was for 2 years for me, so I'll select that. Then was it a full time or a part time study? For me, it was a full time, so I selected full time over here. Country of education, so it was Canada. City or town, you have to enter the details of the city or town. Let's say Regina. Is it completed? Let's say yes if it's completed. Have you been awarded a valid Canadian degree? So let's say yes. I got my Canadian degree here. So in this, I'm just filling my Canadian education experience for now, and I will be moving on to the next page. Have you authorized the ECA granting organization to share the results? So no, as of now, I have not done my ECA or WES. Have you authorized ECA granting organization to share the results of your EC report with province of Ontario? No, as of now, no. So I'm selecting no over here as well, because I'm just showing my Canadian education, so I have not yet gone through all this WES assessment till now. So I'm just selecting no here, and I'm moving on to the next page. I'll click on next. Now it is going to ask about your language proficiency. So this was also one of the requirements when we looked into the requirements in our previous video. So it will also ask for your score of one of these language proficiency tests. So let's say like English is your Canadian official language which you are going to use, in which you are proficient. So it is asking in which of the Canada's two official languages are you most proficient. So let's say English. Then it also gives you the conditions that you must demonstrate an official language proficiency equivalent to Canadian language benchmark 7 or above for each language competency, that is in listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So this could be either in English or in French. And these are the tests that are acceptable by OINP. So let's say you gave IELTS, and now you have to enter the details of your score that you have made in IELTS. So let's say you get 8878. Now you have to enter your date of test, so you can look at your IELTS result and you can see when was your test, when you gave this test. You can select that date, and you can also check when was your date of result. You can give that date as well. Again, you can click on next once you have filled this much. Now it is asking you, do you have a job offer in Ontario? So let's say no, you don't have a job offer, you just got notification of interest from Ontario. um, are you currently working in Ontario? Let's say no. And if you are working, you can select yes. And if you have a job offer, you can select yes in that case as well. Then we'll click on next. So in work history, you need to give list of all your paid work experience in last 10 years or since the age of 18 if this was less than 10 years ago. So start with your current or most recent occupation. So you need to start with your most recent occupation. You can select this is my current job, and then when did you start your job from, you need to enter that details. So let's say you enter that details over here. How many hours per week are you working? So let's say 40 hours. Your job title, you can enter your job title here. Let's say software developer. Then the knock code. So for software developer, the knock code is 21232. You can search for the knock codes by going to Google and searching for it. So let's say software developer knock code, and then you can get the knock codes. So you can go on this website, National Occupational Classification website, and when over here you can enter your job title, and based on your job title you will get the knock code. So for software developers, this is the knock code. Let's say for system engineers, let's see what is the knock code. Okay, there's no knock code for it, so let's search for something else. For a cook. So there are different categories under which, like managers in customer and personal services. So for that, this is the knock code. So depending on what is your occupation and your duties and the titles, you can select the knock code. So once you get the knock code, you can enter the knock code of your job here. Then enter the company name. So whichever company you are working for, you can enter the name. Let's say SAP Labs. And then city or town, you can enter the city or town where you are working for this company. And then you can select the country name. Were you issued a valid work permit for this job in Ontario? So we were issued a valid work permit, then only we are working in Canada, let's say. So you will select yes over here. And if you have a previous past experience from your home country, you can add that experience as well. So you can add this particular portion with that experience as well. As of now, I'm not just not filling it. It will be filled in the same way, the way we filled this work experience. Now let's click on next. Now, once we click on next, it is asking about other activities. So, excluding education and paid work, if you have done any other activity in last 10 years, you can enter whether you have done it, yes or no. So, let's say no, we have not done any other activities. Then we'll again click on next. Then it will ask for intention to reside in Ontario. So it says, please list all your established ties in Ontario below. So you have to list it in maximum 1000 characters. So to pay attention towards here, you have to write 1000 characters, not 1000 words. So you can enter any of the ties, or you can show any of these ties, and you can write a small paragraph mentioning what ties do you have with Ontario. This will make your application strong, and this will help the immigration officer to decide that whether they should give you PNP or not. So make sure that you write in a paragraph about your intention to reside in Ontario. So let's say, as of now, I'll just fill something dummy. Then, do you or your spouse or common law partner have a relative living in Canada? So, who is 18 years of age or older and is a Canadian citizen or PR of Canada? Depending on the information, whether there is a relative or not, you can enter yes or no. Let's say no. Then, by checking the following box, I, the applicant, declare that I intend to reside in Ontario. So, this is just a declaration. You need to tick this checkbox and you need to enter your name here, and then you will click on next. So you need to enter full name of the applicant. Do you have any dependent family members? Let's say yes, you have a spouse and you want to enter the details of your spouse. So for that, you will select yes, and you will give all the details of your spouse in this particular box. So let's start filling the spouse name. Let's say, let's give all the details of the spouse as well. I'm just giving some dummy random details as of now. Then you need to mention the gender, you need to mention the citizenship. Citizenship is from which country? Let's say, for example, India. Country of residence, let's say Canada. Relationship to you, you can say spouse or common law partner. If you are applying for your spouse application along with your application, then you can select spouse or common law partner. Is your family member a Canadian citizen or PR of Canada? Let's say no, because you are applying for them as well. Is a family member accompanying you to Ontario? Please select yes over here. And then it is asking you some additional question. So does your family member or common law partner have previous work experience in Canada? Let's say yes. And then if you select yes, you have to provide the details of the work experience that they have in Canada. And let's say you select no, then you don't have to provide any work experience in Canada. Let's say they are selecting yes. So you need to mention like from when to when they had this work experience. So let's say we select this is the current job for which I'm going to give the details. So you need to enter from hours per week, let's say 40 hours. Job title, let's again say software engineer, software developer, and let's put the knock code. Then the employer name, so you need to put the employer name. Let's say SP. Then city or town, let's say, was your spouse issued a valid work permit for this job in Canada? Let's say yes. Then has your spouse or common law partner previous completed any studies in Canada? Let's say, for example, no, because you did your studies, you got PGWP, and then your spouse got SOWP based on that PGWP. So has your spouse or common law partner completed any language test? You can select yes or no depending on whether they have given language test or not. Let's say if you select yes, then you have to enter the details like which test they have given. For example, they have given IELTS, then you have to enter the details of the score that they have made in IELTS. And then again the same question, it is asking for the date of test and date of test result. and then you will click on next. And then it will ask you the details about your settlement funds. So I think this video is getting really long, so I will make the another part of this video where I'll talk about the continuing sections that are still left in this particular OINP application. I will also be talking about in detail what all documents are required, what all forms needs to be filled in order to submit your OINP application successfully. So until then, I hope we will stop here on this particular point. If this video was helpful for you, please consider subscribing to my channel. I will make more videos related to my Canadian journey, as well as related to the different PR options that we have. Also, you can check the playlist where I have uploaded all the visa and different documents that are required for applying different kinds of visas and whatever has been my journey till now in Canada. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye bye.